Hello everyone, my name is Boris, bringing you another board review. Today we'll be hopping in game with Ironbog from the second day of the Bilgewater Cup, where he played some quite unconventional boards and performed quite well on them, therefore let's see how he approaches the game. We already checked the Aeonia and it was the gold generating one, therefore something we definitely might be interested in playing around. Starting off with the Scion, so we could start thinking about already a LeBlanc unlock. Able to pick up a Shen here, so we can pair a Bruiser with our Scion, also keeping a Briar for that purpose. Bilgewater is also a line that we could consider playing, as it's, I believe, it to not be fully figured out at the moment, as due to the recent changes it hasn't seen as much play as some people might believe. However, we have to sell the Twisted Fate. We have a JG Slam that we could already go for to unlock the LeBlanc. Let's see if we do opt to do that. We waited for the component, just decided to slam the JG, this is going to suffice. Coming up on the Augment selection, now with the Heroic Grab Bag, here we could opt to already dupe LeBlanc too. We roll the first Augment already, and Darken item is also something good that's very good for a Scion, as you can do with the tank item, get him stacking. However, lifting competition is something that is, in a way, an econ augment, and there's nothing saying that you must stay in Bruiser, therefore in later game you can definitely drop down to 2 Bruiser. And I would probably be leaning that towards, as we do not have the particularly strong board to capitalize off either a LeBlanc 2 or another item augment, although item augments are quite popular in the current meta. APAC more generic safe augment option, and replication would also be something that we could go for items. However, it appears that we're just going to go with lifting competition, highly valued augment at the moment. There is also a tech where you can technically just not even play around Bruisers in the mid game. It's just the most natural way of how to play around it. We're going to decide to go for a level, as we're able to also pick up a Scion pair. Now, it's interesting that this choice was made, since item augments are so preferred in the current meta, due to the extra tempo they provide to you, especially in the earlier stages of the game, if you're able to have a couple of upgraded units, and LeBlanc does not need to be upgraded in stage 2, obviously. However, lifting competition is just a safer choice, and is going to provide us with items in the long run. Now, I've also seen, I believe it was Broseph, who once never even played for the Bruisers until like stage 5, and then just slotted in and cashed it out everything at once as an extra econ boost. This is another way to approach it, very unconventional. However, here I would believe that we are able to play around Bruisers, also to able to unlock Kobuko, which could tie nicely into our mid-game board of some sorts. And since we have the Bruiser core, why not? Now, constantly checking if we are able to make a threshold. Unfortunately, since we do not have a frontline item, we might be lacking. Yeah, generally this augment, the very last breakpoint is in the form of a chase. Now, if you check here, what people generally tend to cash out are the first 3 tiers here, where we get 28 gold, Spirit Visage, and a belt, which generally makes it worthwhile a gold augment. Now going to the next round. Going up against a Stars Are Born that have not used it on their 2 cost, might be looking for either to play into perhaps some sort of Soda or Demacia board. If they were able to unlock Poppy, then definitely would have provided them quite large tempo. Stars Are Born generally being a very great augment for this kind of thing. But especially if you already have the unlock coming into this 2-1, you can instantly gain quite a lot of tempo from it. Now we do not get any bells, therefore it's going to go for more damage. They don't get a tier either, that way we could perhaps transition into Void Staff. Able to cash out our first belt, which is going to transition into an Asher. And now we have an open road that we can play around as well. Going to opt to level here. We scouted our matchups and believe that we can finish this stage off on a 3 streak. Against the quite weak Ionia board. Therefore should be easy pickings for us when we get the Noxus in with the form of with extra frontline. And we have the 2 upgraded Bruisers, therefore we're definitely good on the frontline compartment with Alakon. Would perhaps want to look for a little bit more of damage on this board. However, also in stage 2, it's quite oftentimes correct play to Now we have trade for these bruisers, but even if we had some other kind of upgraded 1 cost it's quite often correct to play an upgraded unit even if it's traitless, if you do not have a better slot in to bake. Legion of Trees playing around Piltover and the Oriana to make easy pickings for it. Well spotted, able to also high roll a Scion 2 here. Now we have a Luxon shop that we could perhaps consider playing around, however it doesn't fit our board exactly. Going to remove the items here to unlock an Oriana, which is going to provide us the secondary carry. Well spotted that we can do so. Little pick up from a Caitlyn that we are probably going to sell immediately right away. Also pick up that Lux as a potential out, I would assume. Slot in our Piltover to check. Not satisfied with the options, as we would generally be looking for some form of blast shields or a continuum cogs. Gonna slam a spark here, get a full tempo going, get a shred going. Slam that bow that most likely with the setup probably want to transition into another Nashers. Coming as a Seraphim Staff Ori on the board, most likely playing into some kind of a Seraphine board. However, our front line is quite good, but they are ramping. And can we get this off? A very close win to extend our streak. It's a crucial win for us. Going into the next Augment selection. Hold the line is something that works greatly into some form of a Kaisa board that generally can benefit from running multiple frontline units. Now, strong combat Augment, we could consider it. I would prefer it over the Retribution here, as we didn't already have the JG slam, we don't have any hot users. However, we have managed to pick up Mbessa, which could work, and Prismatic Ticket, strong econ option, especially if chasing 3-star 4 quests, but I don't think that's our game plan right now. Gonna roll that. Get Lucky Gloves Plus, and a trifecta is just Dead Augment. Lucky Gloves Plus, also we don't have an open glove and could benefit, so we're going to go from hold the line. Going to backline our Mbessa as well for that. This is generally going to provide us the most tempo we can have right now, and if we are playing into some form of a Noxus board, I believe we can also quite make use of it quite well. Also, the board needs to know that something like Azir soldiers provide this extra value for the hold the line if you frontline them. So yeah, we definitely here value to keep up our tempo as high as we possibly can, knowing that we're not playing perhaps the highest capping line, unless we opt to go into the Serra Liss, which again is not the highest capping line, but is one of the higher capping lines. But from the scouts that we've done and seen the players playing around, the line might be kind of contested. Therefore, let's see how he very interesting choices already made. To see how he approaches it further down the line. Going against someone playing around Ishtal, but I'm not sure what they're exactly transitioning into. It seems like they've gotten Ishtal only in right recently, unless they're on one of the longer quests. However, they do have 2-star Nikos already, as they have the Nidalee unlocked, so they might be playing some Ishtal reroll perhaps. Already seeing hovering the belts, just to complete our next Nashers. Able to get a double LeBlanc shop, that's going to be very strong for us. Again, checking if this is going to complete, going to level tempo to keep our streak going. Double slam the double Nashers. We're definitely very, very strong right now, so we can capitalize off that tempo again, and that's going to make our econ back for sure. Also, in case we lose, we can just, yeah, we're going to sell one of these Briars. It's completely fine to just hold one along, and even if we happen to lose, we can sell it. Coming up now, we managed to cash out our second breakpoint in this form of the Spirit Visage. This is going to immediately transition into the Scion here, making our board just much stronger. Also managed to unlock Kobocorp from this, which provides us with an option to also play into 4 Invoker mid-game. Generally the boards this patch do not tend to cap around 4 Invoker, although there are very niche cases where you might do so in case you are able to get a Zillion 2. However, without an emblem, they generally tend to stick around 2 Invoker type of lines. But that again would be generally playing into a form of some kind of a Lysandra board together with a Zillion and a Kobuko. Now we have a form of either Archangels or a JG. We ideally would have wanted another frontline item here to complete the third item tank. So let's see what we opt to choose to slam here. Able to slot in that Leona, get an anti-heal going. I'm going to go for a Hodge here. Going to more play around Mbessa and also putting in the item on Mbessa. If you're able to 2-star the Mbessa, we're able to unlock Mel, which might be something we're considering playing around. One of these ways how you get out of this Seraphine Lysandra gamble is by, in case you see that you are contested, you can just opt to go for a Noxus board. Now checking our board for the augments. Celestial Blessing here would be something that we would generally want to wish play more in the Slayers. Some melee kind of comp that benefits from the extra Omnivamp. TG is always nice. In this set we have so many flex carries that can use the TG. However, Exiles is a very strong combat augment even after the nerfs that it has received. We are on the streak. I do not believe that we are that poor. We're gonna opt to roll the Exiles though. Now, I would assume we're leaning TG then. And yeah, that's what we're gonna go for. Just want some extra items on this board. That's the part we're lacking. We have the combat power already from the Hold the Line. Therefore, we're going to opt to go for a TG. Check the TG on the Briar. See that it's a double anti-heal. So just going to toss it on the Arena for now. That we're quite likely going to be dropping at some point. Opted not to full send it here, as we have that HP lead, so we can even manipulate, make leverage of that to try to go to level 9 if we wish to. Just gonna slot in double Ambessa here, as we retain the 2 Invoker and the TG is just more useful on her than the roll. Trying to do everything we can to manage the strongest board, while it does look like we're going to try to go on level 9. Therefore, we're expected to lose some rounds here against the Demacia board. Playing around the Seraphim staff, very generally good augment. Also looking at the Volibear unlock condition, and yeah, actually that's what the TG could easily transition into. We could just play for a Volibear. Able to pick up Mbessa 2 here from the Carousel. Now, assuming that we're sacking here, we are most likely going to get an ML unlock. Now we also have managed to stack our Scions sufficiently to be able to go for a Volibear unlock. Just going to slam a Hodge here on the Leona. However, it seems that we wanted to slot in a Taric instead. Just a generally better flex unit, especially in this heavy AP lobbies these days. Getting some little bit of magic resist on your whole board is very, very nice, particularly since the changes of when the unit dies, the aura stays. Unlocking the Volibear and the Mel here. Now, I guess we are holding on to the Mel. 6 Bruiser Core here should be enough for us to unlock the next breakpoint. And get that extra gold that will allow us to definitely go to level 9 here. It's very nice that we managed to string some wins together, preserve even more HP. Up against the Kaisa one, Rift Herald one should be slim pickings for us, so from that high roll of LeBlanc 2 and managing to pick up the Mbessa on the Carousel, we have managed to pull together a very strong stage 4. Not playing into the contest, we are mapping out the Lysandra Seraphine comp. Alright, so I've seen it a couple of times being played. In case it's not over contested, you can just try to go fast 9 and cap around this board that way. From the item slams here, I would assume that we're going to try to slam some anti-heal, get that sorted, make a Brambles West as the third item for us, have an open glove that perhaps we can complete as something on the Carousel in the worst case scenario. Losing around here from a Warwick that has the Shyvana in with the Zone emblem is going to provide a very decent aura for us, so we're just going to send it to level 9. Able to pick up a Zillion and see a Swain in our roll down as well. When you're managing this little gold, you're always trying to see what's the best use, how you can use it. Going to opt to sell the Ambessa and just transition the TG on the Mel for now. And unfortunately, very close round as we drop to the Masia board. Certainly we managed to pick up a Mel 2. Now this could be something that, yeah, with this double Nashor's JG, Mel's gonna get casting. Now able to pick up Imp as the extra damage. Gonna synergize also together with that Mel's cast. Able to pick up a Nazir, however we do already have the 2 Disruptor. Toss the TG on the Ornn for now, as we don't simply have a better user or holder at the moment for the particular items that were rolled. Good look to transition off it later on. Now the Mel already putting decent work. Unfortunately, we did drop the round to set 2, which is a very strong unit at the moment. In my opinion, deserving a little bit of nerfs. This game has been played very masterfully. Just seeing what the options, what the game is giving to you, and how the best we can play around it. We're deviating from our original game plan. Now picking up a Volibear 2. Just truly playing the strongest board throughout the game, seeing what options we are offered. Able to make the Ornn 2 as well. Now, I would assume we wanted to get rid of these Scion tanking, even though he's been stacking. Able to transition the TG to the Shyvana. Just masterfully played all the way from Ironbog. Going up against the Ishtal player. Mel should, yeah, like, even though it's still, she is a little underpowered, especially if you don't have the front line to support her. With this hold the line augment, she should be very strong. Now we're able to pick up a Swain too. Going to transition the items here. Also have the Ornn, just gonna reforge and fight. Unfortunately, it's another Spark. Could have used both AP and AD item, or even any kind of HP item, as Volibear scales off HP. However, Spark will have to suffice. It is what it is. Going up is the Crown of the Masia Yunara boards. Unfortunately, they are on set 1 for them, and we're able to pick up a win here. Still a very scary matchup. So, as you can see, this board is playing quite well into these matchups, purely from the extra resources to be generated from the Bruiser Augment and the extra combat power coming in from Hold the Line. We need to go for a roll down here. Looks like, yeah, we're upgrading our Seraphine too. Maybe we can hit also a little bit of extra front line. Probably go here for a decap. Yeah, just get some extra damage on the Seraphine. Did not have a volley item to play around. Now, another interesting board that we're facing, the Shurima Ionia board with the Zerath. Now, they could be quite scary, especially depending on the charms they roll. And yeah, they have made work of us. That should be probably the biggest threat. Able to roll the tank item from the Ornn. So we're probably look to see to get rid of the Spark of our main tank. No, we hope to go for main tank Spark and just going to transition the Bramble Western Volley. Alright, another interesting choice that I perhaps would not have made myself. And again, the same Ionia board we fought before. Now we're in a 1v1 already left with the Ionia Zerath. Still those Scrapes coming in, aka oh shit, is this Augment again. Do get a cash out of a Radiant Gunblade that we unfortunately, well, we could have perhaps moved it to Volley, but Seraphine should be a little bit better user of it since Volley does not have that much AP scaling. See me how we fared. The Zeratot is coming in. Volley has managed to get to the backline. We're managed to clear it as well, and we're able to pick up a win. Insane game played by Ironbog with so many decisions made throughout that might not be the most obvious, and being able to play the strongest board, he's able to capitalize and win out on a Mel. It's just a pure masterclass showing of why he is one of the APAC's best. I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope that you learned something new, as I definitely did. And I wish to see you in the next one. Have a good one.